Look at Sarah, what a waste of space. My husband Marcus laughed loudly at my brother's wedding. I was hiding behind the chocolate fountain when I heard him talking to his work friends. She sits at home all day doing nothing while I work hard at Phoenix Tech to pay our bills. His friends all started laughing too. My heart felt like someone stepped on it. I almost dropped my piece of cake. Marcus kept going. She's so lazy, she can't even get a simple job at a store. Before we continue, first let me thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Please subscribe and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out goes to Mickey from Houston, Texas. Thank you for being part of our family. Now, let me tell you everything. I don't know why I married her. More mean laughter filled the room. But Marcus didn't know something very important. Something that would make him very sorry. What Marcus and his friends didn't know was that I, Sarah Chen, was the real owner of Phoenix Tech. That's right, the same company where Marcus worked as just a regular worker in the computer department. He complained about his mystery boss every single day. The owner never shows up, he would say. Nobody knows who runs this place. Well, I knew exactly who ran it. Me. I got the company from my grandpa 2 years ago when he got very sick. But I decided to keep it a secret and let my smart helper Maria run things while I watched from far away. I had good reasons for hiding who I really was. When I first married Marcus 4 years ago, he was nice and kind. But slowly, like a flower dying, he started being mean to me. He told me I wasn't smart enough for business. He said I should just stay home and clean the house. When Grandpa left me his company, I felt scared. What if Marcus was right? What if I really wasn't good enough? So I hid behind Maria, my trusted friend who knew all about running businesses. I pretended to be just a housewife while secretly making all the big decisions for Phoenix Tech. I was learning and getting stronger every day, but Marcus never knew. Sarah spends her time watching TV shows about cooking and meeting her silly friends for lunch, Marcus was saying now. His voice was getting louder because he drank too much party punch. Meanwhile, I'm working super hard at Phoenix Tech to keep us from being poor. I stepped out from behind the chocolate fountain. My hands were shaking, but I felt brave. Marcus hadn't seen me yet. He was facing the other way, moving his arms around as he told his mean story. I looked at him in his fancy blue suit, a suit I paid for with money from my company. He kept talking about how useless I was to his work friends from Phoenix Tech. What exactly do I contribute, Marcus? I asked in a clear voice. He spun around fast, his face changing from happy to scared in 1 second. His friends, Tommy from the money department, Luis from sales, and David from Marcus's computer team, all looked uncomfortable. Sarah, I was just, he started to say. Just telling everyone what a terrible wife you have. I asked, smiling but not feeling happy inside. Please don't stop because of me. Nobody said anything. The wedding party continued around us. My brother's special day was full of white decorations and dancing, while my marriage was breaking into pieces right here. Sweetie, it was just a joke, Marcus said, trying to grab my hand. I moved away from him. Was it? Because it sounded like you meant every word. David, who always tried to make peace, cleared his throat. Sarah, he didn't mean to hurt you. Don't make excuses for him, I said firmly. I looked at each man. You all work at Phoenix Tech, right? They nodded, looking confused. How's the company doing with the new computer project? I asked like I was just curious. Tommy looked surprised. That's private company business, Sarah. Yes, it is, I agreed. And the big product launch next month. Still happening on time? Luis shifted from foot to foot uncomfortably. How do you know about that? Marcus laughed nervously. Sarah, stop it. You're making yourself look silly. You don't know anything about business stuff. I turned to face him. Years of hurt feelings finally found their voice. Monday morning is going to be very interesting, Marcus. Very, very interesting. With those words I walked away, leaving them all looking puzzled and worried. I heard Marcus mutter, What in the world was that about? But I kept walking. My mind was already thinking about Monday. For 2 years, I had hidden in the shadows. I let Marcus think I was just a boring housewife. For 2 years, I signed his paychecks without him knowing. I read his work reports that said he wasn't very good at his job. I watched him take credit for other people's work. And the whole time he came home and treated me like I was stupid. No more. Monday morning I would walk into Phoenix Tech as the real boss. I would take back my name, my company, and my self-respect. I would fire Marcus and his mean friends. And I would finally stop living this fake life. As I walked across the party room, my brother saw me from the dance floor. He could tell something was wrong because he stopped dancing and looked worried. I gave him a smile to show him everything was okay. This was his special day, and I didn't want to ruin it with my problems. I went outside to the garden where it was quiet and peaceful. My phone buzzed with a message from Maria, who helped run my company. Big meeting confirmed for Monday morning at 8 o'clock. All the important workers will be there like you asked. Perfect, I texted back. I looked out at the city lights. The Phoenix Tech building stood tall with all the other big buildings. Its sign was lit up against the dark sky. For too long I had let fear keep me hidden. For too long, I had let Marcus's mean words make me think I wasn't good enough. My phone buzzed again. Marcus was texting. "Where are you? We need to take pictures with everyone." I didn't answer. Instead, I took off my wedding ring and put it in my purse. I felt ready to make the big change I should have made 2 years ago. But I didn't know then that Marcus had secrets too. Big secrets that would make everything crazy. Secrets that would make me wonder about everything I thought I knew about my company, my marriage, and even how my grandpa really died. I barely slept that night. Marcus came home late, stumbling and smelling like beer. He mumbled, "I'm sorry," but I pretended to be asleep. He fell asleep with all his clothes on. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan spin around and around. I practiced in my mind what I would say on Monday morning. When the sun came up, I quietly packed a small bag. Not everything, because that would make Marcus suspicious. Just enough clothes for a few days. I had a secret apartment downtown that Marcus didn't know about. I left while he was still snoring and drove through the empty morning streets to my hidden home. The city was just waking up as I drove to my secret apartment. Sunday morning had no traffic, so the drive was easy. I parked in the private parking garage and took the elevator up high to my apartment. I used a key I almost never used. The apartment was clean and perfect, just like always. A cleaning company took care of it, just like they took care of all my other Phoenix Tech properties. I put down my small suitcase and walked to the big windows. From here I could see the Phoenix Tech building clearly. My grandpa's dream. My dream now. Grandpa had built the company from nothing, starting with just a small computer repair shop and growing it into a huge business over 25 years. When Grandpa died suddenly from a heart attack 2 years ago, I was so sad I could barely think. We had been very close, especially after my mom died when I was in college. He had been teaching me about business, planning for me to take over someday. But I thought someday was far in the future. The shock of losing him happened at the same time my marriage to Marcus started going bad. First, Marcus supported my career dreams. He was even proud when I got a good job at another company. But little by little, his comments got meaner. He convinced me to quit my job just before Grandpa died, saying we should have babies instead. Then came the day the lawyer read Grandpa's will. I expected Grandpa to leave the company to his smart business managers. Instead, he left everything to me. His letter said he believed in me and hoped I would make Phoenix Tech even better. Marcus was so angry. "You," he had said, "run a technology company. You couldn't even handle your job at Midpoint Corp. And that was just a middle-level position." His words hurt because I was scared too. Grandpa believed in me, but did I believe in myself? In that moment when I felt weak and unsure, I made a choice. I would own the company but stay hidden. I would work through Maria, Grandpa's loyal helper, while I learned the business secretly. When Marcus applied for a job at Phoenix Tech a few months later, I saw a chance to watch him at work and see what kind of person he really was. What I learned made me very sad. My phone rang, pulling me away from these memories. 'Twas Maria. "Good morning, Sarah. Are you still planning to do this tomorrow?" "Yes, absolutely," I replied. "But I need you to do something else for me today." "What do you need?" "I want to see all of Marcus's work emails and files. And I want to look at the security cameras from the main office for the past 2 years, especially around Grandpa's office." There was a quiet pause. "May I ask why?" "Something doesn't feel right, Maria." Marcus was too confident when he applied for that job at Phoenix Tech, even though he knew the company belonged to me. It's like he knew something I didn't. Maria was quiet for a moment. "I'll send everything to your private computer within an hour. But Sarah, be ready, whatever you find might be hard to see." After hanging up, I made coffee and got ready to look at whatever Maria would send me. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Where are you, Sarah? This isn't funny. Are you really still mad about last night? Your brother is calling me worried about you." I texted my brother to tell him I was fine but needed some alone time. Then I turned off my phone and opened my computer. Maria was true to her word. She had given me access to everything. I started looking at Marcus's emails, searching for anything about my grandpa. There were surprisingly few emails, which seemed strange since Grandpa had been the company's founder and boss. I moved on to the security camera videos, focusing on the weeks before Grandpa died. Hours passed as I looked through video after video, seeing nothing unusual. Then I found something that made my heart beat fast. 3 weeks before Grandpa died, Marcus was in the building late at night. He had a visitor's badge and walked like he knew exactly where he was going, even though he supposedly had never been to Phoenix Tech before. This was during a girls' trip I had taken with my friends. A trip Marcus had encouraged me to make longer. In the video, Marcus walked confidently to the main elevator, which needed special permission to use. He went up to Grandpa's floor. The camera in Grandpa's waiting area showed Marcus being let in by Betty, Grandpa's secretary. They looked like they knew each other well. Too well. Betty looked around nervously before unlocking Grandpa's private office door. Marcus went inside and the door closed. There were no cameras inside Grandpa's office because he liked privacy. Marcus came out 45 minutes later, putting something in his jacket pocket before Betty walked him out. I sat back, my mind spinning. What was Marcus doing in Grandpa's office 3 weeks before he died? How did he know Betty? I checked the employee records. Betty had quit right after Grandpa's funeral, saying she was too sad to work. Nobody questioned it. I searched Marcus's personal email next and found nothing suspicious at first. But then I remembered to check his deleted emails. That's where I found the shocking truth. Email conversations with Betty going back years, long before I even met Marcus. Their messages were written in code, but I could tell they knew each other very well. One message from Betty, sent right after Grandpa's death, said simply, "It's finished. She gets everything but doesn't suspect anything. Your path is clear now." My hands shook as I held the computer. What exactly was finished? What wasn't I supposed to suspect? I kept digging, looking through medical records and police reports about Grandpa's death. The official cause was a heart attack, but he had been perfectly healthy at his doctor's visit just 1 month before. I had been so sad after losing him that I never questioned it. Another email caught my eye, from Marcus to Betty, sent the day before my grandpa died. "He still says no. He'll never approve of me for her, or for any job at Phoenix Tech. Time for Plan B." Ice ran through my body. Plan B. The next day my grandpa was dead. I couldn't breathe. Was it possible? Had Marcus and Betty somehow? My phone rang, making me jump so hard I almost dropped the computer. It was Marcus again. This time I answered. "Sarah, thank goodness. Where are you? I've been so worried." His concern sounded real, which made everything worse. "I needed some time to think," I said, trying to keep my voice normal even though I was shaking inside. "About last night, honey, I'm so sorry. I was drunk and showing off. It was stupid." "Yes," I agreed, "it was." "Marcus, did you ever meet my grandpa?" Pause that lasted too long. What? No, you know I never got the chance before he passed away. The lie came out of his mouth so easily. Right, I said. Such a shame. Listen, he said, his voice getting softer. Why don't you come home? We can talk about this. I know I hurt you, but we can fix it. Actually, I said, I think we should talk tomorrow at Phoenix Tech. There's something I need to tell you. Another pause. At Phoenix Tech. Why there? It'll make sense tomorrow. Meet me in the main lobby at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sarah, what's going on? Just be there, Marcus. I hung up and immediately called Maria. I need you to find Betty Miller, Grandpa's old secretary. And I want a complete investigation into Grandpa's death. Private and secret but very thorough. And one more thing, I continued. Move the big meeting to 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. I need to talk to my husband privately first. As I ended the call, I stared again at the Phoenix Tech building. Tomorrow I would confront Marcus about his lies to our marriage. But now I also had to consider something much worse. That my husband might have had something to do with Grandpa's death. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the city. In less than 12 hours, I would face Marcus and possibly learn a truth more painful than his public embarrassment of me. I just didn't know if I was ready for what I might discover. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Don't go through with tomorrow. Some secrets should stay buried for your own safety. I stared at the message, feeling scared. Who else knew what I was planning? And what exactly were they warning me about? Sleep was impossible after that scary text message. I spent the night looking at more evidence and pacing around the apartment, jumping at every small sound. By 5 o'clock in the morning, I decided to just get ready for the day that would change everything. I dressed carefully. A sharp black business suit that Grandpa had bought me when I finished college, a white shirt in Phoenix Tech's company colors, and Mom's pearl earrings for good luck. These clothes were like armor for the battle ahead. Maria called at 6:30. Security knows to expect you and to treat you as the real boss without making any big announcements until after the board meeting. I found Betty Miller too, Maria continued. My heart skipped a beat. Where is she? Living under her original name in Denver. She took a big severance package after your grandpa's death and disappeared. But here's the strange part. Monthly payments of $15,000 have been going to a secret bank account in her name for the past 2 years. From where? I asked, though I was afraid of the answer. That's the thing. They're coming from a fake company that traces back to your husband. I gripped the phone tighter. So Marcus has been paying her off. It looks that way. I've also started looking into your grandpa's death. The first medical examiner noted some unusual things that were never investigated further. Nothing definitive yet, but Grandpa might have been murdered, I finished, saying the terrible thought that had kept me awake all night. It's possible, Maria admitted. Sarah, are you sure you want to face Marcus alone, knowing what we suspect? I'll have security nearby, I promised. And I need to see his face when I confront him. I need to know the truth. After hanging up, I gathered my evidence. Copies of the emails, pictures from the security cameras, financial records of the payments to Betty, and put them in a leather folder. Then I called for the car that would take me to Phoenix Tech. The city was fully awake now. Monday morning traffic filled the streets with honking cars and busy people going to work, while my life was about to change forever. We arrived at 7:45. I entered through the private executive entrance, nodding to the security guards who, for the first time, recognized me as someone important. The executive elevator needed a fingerprint scan. Grandpa had insisted on the best security, and for the first time, I used my own fingerprint instead of Maria's special override. Good morning, Miss Chen. The elevator's computer voice greeted me. Welcome back. The doors opened directly into the executive floor reception area. Emma, the current receptionist, looked up in surprise. May I help you, ma'am? Good morning, Emma, I said, enjoying her confusion. Please let the security team know I'll be meeting Marcus Peterson in conference room B in 15 minutes. I'm sorry, who are you here to see? Emma asked. Maria appeared from her office right on time. Emma, this is Sarah Chen, CEO of Phoenix Tech and daughter of our founder. Emma's eyes got very wide. I had no idea, Miss Chen. I'm so sorry for not recognizing you. No need to apologize, I told her kindly. Then I turned to Maria. Is everything ready? She nodded. Security is in position. They'll bring Marcus to conference room B when he arrives, and they'll be right outside the door. And the board members, all arriving for the 9 o'clock meeting, completely unaware of what's about to happen. Checked my watch. 7:50. Marcus would be here soon. I'd like a moment in Grandpa's office first. Maria nodded with understanding and led me to the large corner office I had only visited as a guest since inheriting the company. Grandpa's office had been kept mostly the same, though some of the personal items had been stored for me. I walked to the big desk and touched its smooth surface. This is where he died, isn't it? Yes, Maria said quietly. He was working late. I found him the next morning. I looked around the room, trying to imagine Grandpa's final moments. Had he been alone or had someone been here with him? Had Marcus been involved somehow? The intercom buzzed. Miss Chen, came Emma's voice. Mr. Peterson has arrived and is being brought to conference room B. Thank you, Emma. I took a deep breath and picked up my folder. Wish me luck, Maria. You don't need luck, Sarah, Maria said with a smile. You have the truth on your side. Conference room B was a small, elegant space used for private meetings. Big windows showed a view of the city, while privacy glass could be turned on with a touch of a button to make the room completely private. I arrived before Marcus, setting my materials on the polished table and taking a seat with my back to the door. A power move Grandpa had taught me. Make them come to you. Let them see you first. The door opened. I didn't turn around. Sarah. Marcus's voice was confused. What's going on? Why are there security guards outside? Sit down, Marcus, I said without turning. I heard him pull out a chair. You're scaring me. What is this about? Finally, I turned my chair to face him. His expression was a mix of confusion and worry that might have seemed genuine if I hadn't spent the night learning about his lies. 2 years ago, I began. Grandpa died suddenly, leaving me as the owner of Phoenix Tech. Marcus nodded slowly. Yes, I know that. It was a terrible shock. A few months later, you applied for a job here, despite knowing the company was mine. I needed work, he said defensively. And you weren't involved in running things day to day, so I didn't see the problem. Didn't you? I opened the folder and slid a photograph across the table. The security camera picture showing him entering Grandpa's office with Betty. This was taken 3 weeks before my grandpa died. All the color left Marcus's face. I can explain, he stammered. Please do, I said coldly. Explain why you lied about never meeting my grandpa. Explain why you were in his office late at night when I was conveniently out of town. A trip you encouraged me to extend. It's not what you think, he began. Then explain these, I said, sliding over printouts of the emails between him and Betty. Explain Plan B, the day before my grandpa died. Explain the $15,000 monthly payments to Betty Miller for the past 2 years. Marcus stood up quickly. This is crazy. I'm not sitting here being accused of. Sit down. My voice cut through his protest like a knife. To my surprise, he obeyed. You embarrassed me at my brother's wedding, making fun of me for being just a housewife, when all along you knew exactly who I was. You've been lying to me for years. I deserve the truth. Marcus ran his hand through his hair. Something I used to find cute but now saw as him buying time to think of more lies. Your grandpa didn't approve of me, he finally said. He thought I wasn't good enough for you. That meeting was me trying to convince him otherwise. And Betty, how do you know her? His jaw got tight. We dated in college. It was a coincidence that she worked for your grandpa. A convenient coincidence, I noted. And the payments. She's been blackmailing me, he admitted, though I wasn't sure I believed him. She threatened to tell you about our past relationship, make it seem like I married you to get close to your grandpa's company. Didn't you?" His eyes flashed with anger. "Is that what you think? That our entire marriage has been some elaborate plan? I don't know what to think anymore, Marcus. But I know you've been hiding important things from me." I leaned forward. "What was plan B?" He looked away. "It wasn't what you're thinking. Your grandpa refused to accept me, refused to see that I could be good for his company. Plan B was going around him, applying directly to HR after he made it clear he wouldn't give me his blessing." It sounded believable, but something in his voice felt practiced, rehearsed. I pushed harder. "And his death the very next day. Just a convenient coincidence." Marcus's face got dark. "Are you actually accusing me of killing your grandpa? I'm asking if you had anything to do with his death." "No," he said firmly. "I did not. Your grandpa died of a heart attack, Sarah. It was tragic but natural. Then you won't mind if we reopen the investigation. Have his body examined again if necessary." A flash of something, fear, crossed his face before he controlled it. "Do whatever you need to do. I had nothing to do with his death." I studied him, trying to see past the mask he wore to the man I thought I knew. "There's one more thing you should know, Marcus." "What's that?" "I'm the CEO of Phoenix Tech. I always have been, and as of this moment, you're fired." He laughed, but it sounded forced. "You can't fire me. You don't run the company. The board does." "Actually, I do run the company," I corrected him. "I've been making all the major decisions for 2 years through Maria. The board follows my directions, not the other way around." Understanding dawned on his face. "All this time you've been my boss. Ironic, isn't it? While you were putting me down at home, calling me stupid and useless, I was signing your paychecks." His expression changed, a calculating look I recognized all too well. "Sarah, let's not be hasty. We can work this out. Our marriage is over," I finished for him. "I've already filed for divorce." As the words left my mouth, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the building. The lights went out completely before emergency power kicked in, bathing the room in dim red light. "What's happening?" Marcus demanded. The door burst open and Maria rushed in. "Sarah, we need to evacuate now." "What's going on?" "Someone's broken into our security systems. They've accessed the executive floor database. All the files you were looking at last night about your grandpa." My blood ran cold. "Who?" "We don't know yet," Maria said urgently. "But they left a message." She handed me her tablet. On the screen was a single line of text. "I warned you to let sleeping dogs lie. Now we finish what we started 2 years ago." I looked up at Marcus, whose face had gone completely white. "Marcus," I asked, fear gripping my heart, "what have you done?" The building shook with a distant explosion. Chaos broke out. Emergency sirens wailed as the building's evacuation system activated. Maria gripped my arm, pulling me toward the door. "We need to get you out of here now," she insisted, her usually calm manner replaced with urgent concern. Marcus stood frozen, his face pale. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he whispered almost to himself. I spun around to face him. "What wasn't supposed to happen, Marcus? What do you know about this?" Before he could answer, 2 security guards burst into the room. "Miss Chen, we need to evacuate you immediately. We have a secure route ready." Maria nodded. "Go with them, Sarah. I'll handle things here." "What about him?" I pointed at Marcus, who still seemed shocked by what was happening. Maria's expression hardened. "We'll make sure he's escorted out safely and directly to the authorities if necessary." As security began leading me away, Marcus suddenly came alive. "Sarah, wait. You don't understand. You're in danger." "From whom, Marcus?" "From you." "No. From people much more powerful than me. People who've been controlling things from behind the scenes." His eyes were wild, desperate. "I never wanted anyone to get hurt. I just wanted Wanted what? My grandpa's company. Shot back. It wasn't like that, he insisted as one of the guards took his arm. Sarah, listen to me. Another explosion rocked the building, this one closer. The lights flickered again. No time, the head of security said firmly. Miss Chen, we need to move now. As we rushed toward the executive elevator, I glanced back at Marcus being held by the other guard. Our eyes met briefly, and despite everything, I saw something that gave me pause. Not the manipulation I'd grown used to, but genuine fear. The elevator needed Maria's override to work during an emergency. She swiped her security card and pressed her thumb to the scanner. Take her straight to the secure parking garage, she instructed the guards. The car is waiting. I've contacted the authorities, but don't wait for them. What about you? I asked as the elevator doors began to close. I need to secure the systems and make sure everyone gets out safely. I'll meet you at the safe house. The doors closed before I could argue. The ride down was tense. The emergency lights cast strange shadows inside the elevator. My mind raced, trying to process everything that had happened in the last day. Marcus's betrayal, the possibility that Grandpa was murdered, and now this attack on the company. Were they all connected? Who else was involved? Miss Chen, one of the guards spoke, interrupting my thoughts. I'm Officer Johnson, and this is Officer Davis. We've been briefed on the situation. Once we reach the garage, we'll get you into an armored vehicle and take you to a secure location. I nodded, grateful for their calm professionalism. Do we know what caused the explosions? Preliminary reports suggest targeted bombs, Davis answered seriously. Someone wanted to create a distraction, not cause maximum damage. To cover up the data theft, I murmured, understanding. Exactly, Johnson confirmed. Which means whoever did this knows precisely what they're after. The elevator slowed as we reached the basement parking garage. Stay behind us, Johnson instructed as the doors opened. The garage was dimly lit and eerily quiet compared to the chaos above. Our footsteps echoed as we moved quickly toward a black SUV with tinted windows parked in a reserved space. We were halfway there when the lights went out completely, plunging us into darkness. A moment later, emergency lights flickered on, casting long shadows across the concrete floor. Keep moving, Davis urged, his hand on my elbow, guiding me forward. A sound echoed behind us. Footsteps moving fast. Johnson spun around, his hand going to his weapon. Who's there? A familiar voice called out. Sarah. Marcus emerged from the shadows, breathing heavily as if he'd run down the stairs. Both guards drew their weapons. Stay where you are, Mr. Peterson, Johnson commanded. Marcus raised his hands. Sarah, please, you need to hear me out. You're walking into a trap. I hesitated. What are you talking about? I tried to warn you with that text last night. That was you. He nodded. I knew you were investigating when I saw you accessing those files about your grandpa. How did you know what I was accessing? I interrupted, suddenly suspicious. Marcus looked pained. Because I've been monitoring the system, trying to protect those files from being found. I never wanted you to learn the truth about your grandpa this way. So you do know what happened to him? He accused. Not everything, he admitted, but enough to know that his death wasn't a simple heart attack, and enough to know that the same people who orchestrated it are now after you. Johnson stepped forward. Miss Chen, we need to go now. Something in his tone made me look at him more carefully. There was a tension in his stance that hadn't been there before. I glanced at Davis and noticed his eyes kept darting toward the exit. These aren't the regular security guards, Marcus said quietly. Maria would never have sent you with men you don't know. I took a step back. Who are you really? Johnson's expression shifted, his professional manner melting away into something harder. We don't have time for this. Get in the car, Miss Chen. Sarah, Marcus's voice was urgent but controlled. Maria always uses the same 4-person security team for executive protection. Williams, Thompson, Rodriguez, and Martinez. Do you recognize these men? I looked from Marcus to the two guards. Neither was familiar to me. "Last chance," Davis said, his gun now pointing directly at me. "Get in the car." In that moment I made a split-second decision. I dove sideways, away from both the fake guards and Marcus, rolling behind a concrete pillar. A gunshot rang out, echoing loudly in the enclosed space. "Sarah!" Marcus shouted, ducking behind a nearby car. More shots followed. I crouched lower, heart pounding, trying to make myself as small as possible behind the pillar. The concrete chipped near my head as a bullet hit it. "You can't escape," Johnson called out. "The building is locked down. Nobody gets in or out without our permission." I desperately looked for options. The elevator was too far away, and they were between me and the stairs. My only hope was to somehow reach another level of the garage where there might be another exit. A movement caught my eye. Marcus crawling between cars, making his way toward me. Despite everything, I felt relieved. He reached my hiding spot, breathing hard. "Are you okay?" He nodded. "Why are you helping me?" "Because despite what you think, I do love you," he said, and for once I believed him. "I got involved in something much bigger than I ever imagined, and I've made terrible mistakes. But I never wanted you hurt." Another shot hit nearby, sending pieces of concrete flying. "We need to move," Marcus whispered. "There's a service corridor behind that wall." He pointed to an area about 30 feet away. "If we can reach it, we can get to the lower basement and out through the maintenance tunnels." "How do you know that?" A flash of guilt crossed his face. "I've studied the building plans thoroughly." Of course he had part of whatever scheme he'd been involved in. "Ready?" he asked. "On 3. 1, 2, 3. We ran across the open space. Bullets hit the ground around us as we sprinted. I felt a sharp pain across my shoulder but kept moving. Marcus reached the service door first, yanking it open and pulling me inside. The narrow corridor was dimly lit by emergency lighting. We ran down it, the sounds of our pursuers fading behind us. "They'll figure out where we went," Marcus panted as we hurried down a metal staircase. "We don't have much time." The lower basement was like a maze of pipes and electrical equipment. Marcus led the way with surprising confidence, taking us deeper into the building's infrastructure. "You really did plan for this," I said as we hurried along. "Not for this exactly," he admitted. "But yes, I had backup plans." We reached a heavy metal door that Marcus struggled to open. Finally, it swung outward, revealing a tunnel that seemed to run beneath the street. "The service tunnel connects to the subway system about a quarter mile from here," he explained as we entered. "We can lose them there." We moved as quickly as we dared in the dim light. I was very aware of the throbbing pain in my shoulder where the bullet had grazed me. "Marcus," I said as we walked, "I need to know the truth. All of it. What happened to my grandpa? What have you been involved in?" He was quiet for a long moment. "It started innocently enough," he finally said. "I met Betty in college like I told you. She contacted me years later when she was working for your grandpa. She mentioned he was looking for promising young people to bring into the company. So you used her to try to get close to him." "I saw it as networking," Marcus said defensively. "But when I met him and told him I was dating his daughter, he became suspicious. He thought I was using you to get to him. We argued. He threatened to tell you about the meeting, expose what he saw as my true intentions." "Were those your true intentions?" Marcus looked away. "Not entirely. I did love you, Sarah, but yes, I was ambitious. I saw opportunities with Phoenix Tech. And Plan B. What was that really?" He hesitated. "I was desperate to prove myself to your grandpa. I had discovered some problems in the company's finances. I thought if I could bring them to his attention, show him I had business sense, he might change his mind about me." "What kind of problems?" "Money being sent to secret accounts, contracts with fake companies, signs of serious corporate spying." Marcus's voice got quieter. "I was in over my head but too proud to back down. I confronted your grandpa with what I'd found. And He already knew. He'd been investigating it himself for months. But my confronting him forced him to act faster than he wanted. He told me he was about to expose several board members who were selling company secrets to a rival company. I stopped walking. The implications hit me hard. And the next day he was dead. Marcus nodded sadly. When I heard the news, I knew immediately it wasn't a coincidence. But I had no proof and I was scared. Scared they'd come after me next. Scared they'd come after you. So you kept quiet, I said, anger rising. You let me believe it was natural causes while you applied for a job at his company. I took the job to try to find evidence, Marcus insisted. To figure out who was behind it. For 2 years I've been trying to build a case. For 2 years. I was incredulous. And in all that time you never thought to tell me. I was trying to protect you. You were controlling me. Shut back. Making me doubt myself, keeping me isolated from my career, from my confidence. Marcus looked genuinely hurt. I never meant to do that. I just wanted to keep you away from the company until I could make it safe. Before I could respond, the distant sound of footsteps echoed in the tunnel behind us. They found the entrance, Marcus whispered urgently. We need to move faster. We broke into a run, the pain in my shoulder getting worse with each step. Ahead I could see light, the tunnel was opening up. That's the access point to the subway maintenance area, Marcus explained as we approached. Once we're through, we can lose ourselves in the crowd. We reached the door, but it was locked with a heavy padlock from the other side. No, Marcus muttered, shaking the door uselessly. This wasn't on the building plans. The footsteps behind us got louder. We were trapped. Just then my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Maria. Where are you? Security reports you never made it to the car. I quickly typed back our location. Who are you texting? Marcus asked nervously. Maria. The real Maria. Marcus's expression darkened. Sarah, there's something you should know about Maria. The sound of the padlock being unlocked from the other side interrupted him. The door swung open, revealing Maria herself, flanked by 2 men I recognized as part of her regular security team. Sarah, thank God, Maria said, reaching for my hand. Marcus stepped between us. Don't trust her, he warned me. Maria is part of it. Maria looked at Marcus with cold hatred. Says the man who's been lying to her for years. She turned to me. Sarah, we need to get you to safety now. I stood frozen between them, the 2 people who claimed to be protecting me, each accusing the other of betrayal. Behind us, our pursuers were getting closer. I had seconds to decide whom to trust. Time seemed to slow as I stood between Marcus and Maria. The sound of our pursuers echoing in the tunnel behind us. Grandpa's voice suddenly came to me. Advice he'd given years ago. When everyone is telling you different stories, look at their actions, not their words. I studied Maria, my grandpa's trusted helper, the woman who had helped me run Phoenix Tech from the shadows for 2 years. Then Marcus, my husband who had put me down for years while secretly investigating Grandpa's death. Sarah, Maria urged, extending her hand again. We don't have time for this. That's when I noticed it, the slight shake in her hand, the tightness around her eyes. Small signs Grandpa had taught me to recognize. Signs of deception. I took a step back, moving closer to Marcus. How did you find us, Maria? I only texted our location seconds ago, and you were already here. Maria's expression hardened. I tracked your phone, of course. Standard security protocol. No, I said, the pieces suddenly falling into place. You knew where I'd be because you're working with them. You made sure those fake security guards were waiting for me. Maria's face changed, the mask of concern dropping away to reveal cold calculation. You always were too smart for your own good. Just like your grandpa. Behind her, her security team raised their weapons. Not at Marcus or our pursuers, but at me. Why? Asked the betrayal cutting deep. You were his friend, his right hand. And always in his shadow, Maria replied bitterly. 25 years I worked alongside Robert Chen, making him successful, watching him take the credit, the glory, the billions. Then when the overseas investors approached me with an offer, I saw my chance to finally get what I deserved. By stealing company secrets, I said, understanding now. That's what Grandpa discovered. Maria nodded. He confronted me, threatened to expose everything. Said he was disappointed in me. She practically spat the last words. 25 years of loyalty, and all he could talk about was his precious moral code. So you killed him. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. It was business, Maria said coldly. Nothing personal. Just like this is. She raised her gun and I braced myself. But before she could fire, a loud explosion came from behind us. The fake security guards had set charges to break through the locked door at the other end of the tunnel. In the moment of confusion, Marcus grabbed my arm and yanked me sideways through the door and into the subway maintenance area. Gunshots rang out behind us as we ran through the cramped space. They're behind us, Marcus panted as we ran. And Maria's men are ahead of us. We're surrounded. We came out onto a subway platform, startling the few early morning commuters waiting for trains. The normalcy of the scene, people with coffee cups and newspapers, unaware of the life-or-death situation happening, was jarring. This way, Marcus urged, pulling me toward the exit stairs. No, I said, pulling back. They'll be watching all the exits. A train was approaching, its rumble getting louder. I made a split-second decision, pulling Marcus toward the edge of the platform. When it slows down, we jump on, I said. It's our only chance. The train rolled into the station, brakes squealing as it slowed. I spotted Maria and her men entering the platform from one end, the fake security guards from the other. They hadn't seen us yet in the morning crowd. Now, I whispered, and we slipped onto the train just as the doors were closing. We found seats at the far end of the car, trying to look as normal as possible despite my bleeding shoulder and our disheveled appearance. We need a plan, Marcus said quietly. They'll have people at every station. I nodded, my mind racing. We need evidence. Without it, it's just our word against Maria's, and she has resources, connections. I have some evidence, Marcus admitted. Emails, records of overseas transactions I managed to copy. But it's hidden at our house. Where? In the safe behind your grandpa's portrait, ironically enough. I stared at him. All this time, I was gathering proof, he said. Trying to build a case strong enough that they couldn't escape justice. I just needed a little more time. The train slowed as it approached the next station. Tensed, watching the doors. They won't expect us to get off so soon, I said. Let's go. We exited quickly, keeping our heads down as we made our way to street level. Outside, the city was fully awake, streets busy with morning commuters. We need a car, I said, looking around. Marcus pointed to a taxi dropping off a passenger nearby. We hurried toward it, sliding into the back seat before the driver could object. Elm Street, Marcus told him, giving an address a few blocks from our home. And there's an extra $50 if you can get us there in 10 minutes. As the taxi pulled into traffic, I finally had a moment to process everything. Maria, I said quietly. All this time, I trusted her completely. She played the role perfectly, Marcus said. His voice gentler than I'd heard it in years. She was your grandpa's friend for decades. No one suspected her. Except you. Marcus's expression was pained. I suspected everyone after your grandpa died. That's why I pushed you away from the company. Why I? He trailed off. Why you undermined my confidence, I finished for him. Made me doubt myself, my abilities. He couldn't meet my eyes. It was wrong. I know that now. I thought I was protecting you, but I was controlling you just like you said. I became so focused on uncovering the truth that I lost sight of what mattered most to us. The taxi pulled over several blocks from our house. Marcus paid the driver, and we continued on foot, taking a roundabout route to avoid being spotted. Our neighborhood was quiet, most residents already gone for work. We approached our house cautiously from the backyard. "Wait here," Marcus whispered as we reached the back garden. "Let me check first." He crept forward to peer through the kitchen window, then motioned for me to follow. "Looks clear." We entered through the back door, moving silently through the house to my home office where Grandpa's portrait hung. Marcus carefully removed it from the wall, revealing a small wall safe. "You know the combination?" "Yes." He nodded. "It's your birthday." The safe clicked open and Marcus reached inside, pulling out a small flash drive. "Everything's here," he said. Transaction records, emails, evidence of meetings Maria had with the overseas investors. Enough to prove she was selling company secrets and that she had motive to kill your grandpa. I took the drive, turning it over in my hands. "We need to get this to the authorities. Someone we can trust." "I know someone," Marcus said. "An FBI agent who specializes in corporate espionage. She's been building a case against these overseas investors for years." The sound of a car pulling up outside made us both freeze. "Back door," Marcus whispered urgently. We hurried through the house, but before we could reach the kitchen, the back door burst open. One of the fake security guards from the parking garage stood there, gun raised. "Don't move," he ordered. Marcus stepped in front of me protectively. "Johnson, think about what you're doing. This is murder now. Corporate espionage is one thing, but are you ready to kill for Maria?" Johnson hesitated slightly. "It's too late to back out now." "It's never too late to do the right thing," I said from behind Marcus. "We have evidence implicating Maria, not you. Help us, and I'll make sure the authorities know you cooperated." Before Johnson could respond, the sound of sirens filled the air, growing louder, coming our way. His eyes widened in panic. "You called the police?" "No," Marcus said, looking as surprised as Johnson. "But someone did." Johnson wavered, his gun hand trembling. "They promised me millions," he said almost to himself. "A new identity, a new life. And how many lives would that cost?" "Yes. My grandpa's, mine, how many more?" The sirens were very close now. Johnson's face crumpled as reality hit him. Slowly he lowered his gun. "Go," he said. "Back door. I'll tell them you overpowered me." We didn't wait to be told twice, running out the back door and through neighboring yards until we reached the next street over. Police cars were converging on our house from all directions. "This way," Marcus said, leading me to a small coffee shop on the corner. "We can call my FBI contact from here." Inside, as Marcus made the call, I finally had a moment to breathe. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving me shaky and light-headed from blood loss and exhaustion. "They're on their way," Marcus said, returning to the table. "And I've sent them copies of everything. It's over, Sarah. Maria won't escape this time." I studied my husband's face, seeing him clearly perhaps for the first time in years. "Why didn't you just tell me from the beginning? We could have faced this together." Marcus's eyes filled with regret. "I thought I was protecting you. I was wrong. Your grandpa believed in you completely. That's why he left you the company. I should have believed in you too." Within the hour, we were in a secure FBI location. Maria and her associates had been arrested, and the evidence Marcus had gathered was being processed. My shoulder had been treated, and I'd given my statement. "What happens now?" I asked the agent in charge. "Now we build our case," she said. "With your testimony and the evidence we have a strong chance of bringing them all to justice. For corporate espionage and for your grandfather's murder." I nodded, suddenly overwhelmed by the reality that Grandpa's death would finally be avenged. His killers brought to justice. Later, alone with Marcus in a quiet room at the FBI building, I faced the question of our future. "I understand if you still want that divorce," he said quietly. "I betrayed your trust. Even if my intentions were to protect you." I took a deep breath. "I don't know what I want yet, Marcus. You lied to me for years. You undermined my confidence, made me doubt myself. That's not love." I know, he said, his voice breaking slightly. I lost myself in the mission, in the need for justice. I forgot what really mattered. I need time, I said. Time to process everything, to figure out who I am now that all the secrets are out. Whatever you decide, Marcus said. I want you to know, I'm proud of you, Sarah. Your grandpa would be too. You're everything he believed you could be. For the first time in years, I felt the truth of those words. I was strong. I was capable. I was my grandpa's granddaughter. 3 months later, I stood before the Phoenix Tech Board of Directors, no longer hiding in the shadows. The company had weathered the scandal, emerging stronger than before under my visible leadership. As for Marcus and me, we were taking it one day at a time, rebuilding on a foundation of honesty instead of secrets. Whether our marriage would survive remained to be seen, but for the first time in years I was facing the future on my own terms. Not as just a housewife, but as Sarah Chan CEO. Sometimes I thought as I looked out over the city from Grandpa's office. Now mine. The most powerful position is the one no one sees coming. The morning sun streamed through the windows as I prepared for another board meeting. My phone buzzed with a text from my brother. Proud of you, sis. Grandpa would be too. I smiled, remembering that terrible night at his wedding reception when Marcus had humiliated me in front of everyone. If only they could see me now. The useless housewife who owned the company they all worked for. I had learned that real power isn't about making others feel small. It's about lifting yourself up, finding your strength, and never letting anyone convince you that you're less than you are. As I walked into that boardroom, ready to lead another meeting, I carried with me the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the quiet ones, the underestimated ones, are the ones who change everything. And Monday morning had indeed been very, very fun. Thanks for watching Granny's Voice.